Ranking of Kings from an outside perspective looks goofy as fuck. At least that was the case for me. Prior to actually watching the show, I thought the art style was childish, and on the same notes, I thought the anime would be childish. A turn your brain off type of show that was catered to younger audiences and not worth watching. But as I gave the first episode a go, and as those eventual credits rolled in, I realized I was the one being goofy as fuck, and this show was in reality something special. Ranking of Kings centers around this little boy named Bojji. He's a prince to a ruling kingdom, but as with everything, there's a catch. Unfortunately, since birth, he's been disabled. He can't speak, nor can he hear. And as you'd expect, this has led to complications, a life of struggle. After all, how can a child so impaired and disadvantaged become the crowned ruler? How can he become king? Logically, it sounds impossible. He's simply unfit, a failure through and through, someone destined to fall. These are the sentiments of the people at large. But for Bojji, with a huge ass smile on his face, he lives on day to day, determined to prove the world wrong. So yeah, that's the basic setup. There's also a literal ranking of kings that takes place between different kingdoms, but for the most part, the focus lies on Bojji and his rise to greatness from the pitfalls he was placed under. That's a climb I think anyone can get behind. Everyone loves a good underdog story, and this applies even more so to Ranking of Kings. Something about seeing Bojji, a character who from his conception was born with the short end of the stick, displaying to the world that he matters, that his life holds value, and that he can and will become king, is just inherently appealing. Top that with Bojji's natural charm, and there's really nothing to dislike about him. On a constant basis, he's ridiculed, looked down upon, bullied, and very few respect his presence. Snarky comments, judging eyes, and a suffocating world of distaste is the world Bojji lives in. And yet, despite it all, he smiles. He endures the pain and strides forward. If that's not something that inspires, I don't know what is. Honestly, for a show that looks so simple and is simple in many regards, Ranking of Kings is a whole lot more layered than you'd expect. Characters at first seem one-dimensional, but over time are broken down and explored. They turn out not as shallow, lifeless placeholders existing just to service the narrative, but instead as fully realized characters who each have their own desires, purposes, and dreams. Daida and Hilda, for example, start off as classic bully archetypes, but soon enough, we find they're more complex than they initially portrayed themselves to be. Hilda, despite all her negative comments directed to Bojji, deep down does care for him. She has an inner conflict of wanting to support him, but at the same time, not wanting to give him false hope. She tells him he can't be king and prevents him from venturing out, but on the same end, she nurtures him, heals his wounds even at the expense of her own health, and makes sure he has protection when he embarks on his own journey. On Daida's end, he's arrogant, snobbish, and sees himself above everyone else. But during his quest for power, when given the chance to receive instantaneous strength, he rejects the opportunity because he believes in his own potential. For him, it's a matter of principle, attaining strength through his own merits rather than through outside forces. And it's these small nuances in these characters that make me far more invested in how their respective stories will play out, a feeling that applies to the antagonistic forces as well. You might think someone is evil, but as their true selves are unraveled, you realize there's layers to their evil. It's not all just bad, but sometimes cases of people straying away from what's right. The struggle of who they were, who they want to become, and who they are now. Likewise, you might think certain characters are good, but these exact characters end up committing villainous acts. Behind the surface, there's a far more sinister force at play. The sudden appearance of a demon, the secrets behind the mirror woman, the hidden motives of King Boss. All of these connected unknowns have this underlying meaning that no one is aware of. Whether that entails a calamity of sorts or some great tragedy is impossible to predict. But it's this gripping mystery that entices us viewers and little by little is eventually unveiled. Did I also mention this anime is adapted by Wit Studio? Cause yeah, it is, and that in and of itself is testament to its quality. A lot of people know Wit for Attack on Titan, and while Attack on Titan's adaptation is amazingly done, they're actually a lot more skilled and versatile than people give them credit for. With works like Vivi's, Great Pretender, and Vinland Saga, they've proven themselves each and every time that they're a studio that produces quality. And with Ranking of Kings, they've emulated that streak and once again delivered. It's an adaptation that fully brings to life, polishes, and adds to its source material. It has great animation, great visuals, and a great soundtrack. But at the core of it all, what'll make you stay isn't the presentation, but the show's heart. It's the emotions this boy will invoke in you that'll really cement Ranking of Kings as special. Bojji is naive, gullible, incredibly flawed, but more than anything, he's a kid. A kid who's been shunned for a large majority of his small life, someone who's encountered betrayal on more than one occasion, and someone who doesn't necessarily know what's the right path to follow. Sure, he's able to smile through all the pain, but that doesn't mean he's not hurting. His resolve breaks at times, and he can't always hold on to a never give up type of attitude. Sometimes even the smallest picks at his character and potential make him depressed. But when I see this crybaby, this child strive forward despite everything and accomplish something for the world to see, when I see him get berated and those tears start flowing, but in the very next scene for the first time ever, he's told that one day he'll amount to something, that he can succeed, that someone believes in him, that his fight isn't over, and in the coming episodes when I see him stand proud, fuck, that hits. Thanks for watching, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace.